So the lions were pretty cuddly, and surprisingly we found another animal which is in a really, really cuddly position. We've got a nice group of giraffes that have decided to all lie down, which is quite unusual, with the big male that's standing above keeping a lookout, which is fantastic. It's quite a cold but rather calm afternoon here, so they're all probably just resting and waiting for a good opportunity for the sun to come out, maybe last minute, to get a little bit of warmth. Hi, I'm Mike, and behind the camera is Odie, and you've joined us here at Eco Training's Pridelands Conservancy. And yeah, we were just looking around for whatever we could find, and here comes these giraffes right up to the vehicle, and then they just all sat down right in front of us. It was so weird. I've never really seen that before. It's quite nice to have them so calm, but to have them so calm and also just lying down right next to us is pretty spectacular. I don't know if you see this very often. I certainly don't see it very often. And I was just doing a little bit of reading about it, and you know, giraffes don't spend a lot of time sleeping. Maybe less than any other mammal in the whole world, any other land mammal anyway. Only about half an hour a day do giraffes spend sleeping, and they can sleep just like this, lying down with their heads up, or they can even curl their necks and rest their head on their rump if they want to have a bit of a longer sleep. These ones are not sleeping though. They're just resting themselves, but what they're doing right now is ruminating. So they spent the earlier part of the day feeding, like picking up all the leaves off the trees, and right now they sort of regurgitate the leaf material back into their mouths and chew it again. If we zoom in on one of these, you might actually get to see the lump traveling up its throat from when it... Oh, I think it's just done it. So you'll see it. So it's not chewing yet. Wait for it, wait for it. Wait for it. Oh, did you see that? Did you see it? The little bolus of food came into its mouth and then filled into its cheek, and it started feeding again. That was really awesome. So you watch it, it'll chew like this for a minute or two, and then once it's chewed up that bit of leaves enough, it'll swallow it down and replace it with a different set of material that's not quite as well chewed. It's a very interesting, it's a very effective way of getting as much nutrients as possible from each and every single mouthful. And how they do it is actually the finer the material, the sinks down to the bottom of its stomach, and the less well-chewed material is floating at the top. So they use muscles to squeeze up the less chewed material. See, that one also just now got a mouthful. Delicious. Sometimes you eat a meal and you wish you could do the same because it was so tasty. Is that weird? That's probably a bit weird. Angie, it totally looks like they're chewing gum, which I'm jealous about because I was never allowed to chew gum when I was growing up. But yeah, I mean, they chew that for hours and hours and hours. So what they do is they fill their stomach up. Let's say on a normal hot day, Angie, they would have been feeding when it was cool. Then when it gets nice and hot, too hot for them to be out feeding, they'll go into the shade, and that's when they'll start regurgitating or ruminating that food. So they can still continue to get nutrients without having to stand in the hot sun. So this one looks like it's got a mouthful which is about to be swallowed. It doesn't look like it's got a big cheek pouch. So wait for it, it'll swallow and it will have nothing in its mouth. Then you might just get to see that neck bulge. See, there's the last swallow. Wait for it, wait for it. Watch this, watch this. Just getting comfortable. Maybe a bit of a scratch first before I finish the rest of my food. Amazing how flexible their necks can be. Look at that. It's literally scratching underneath its own leg. Wait for it, wait for it. Oh, it's got something. Cindy from Tennessee, ruminating is totally voluntary. Absolutely. It's not something that they do by accident. It's not like blinking, which just happens automatically. This is something they're physically doing because they can stop themselves at any moment. Like now, this one is not ruminating. It's just stopped completely. It's waiting. And then when it feels like it, it will squeeze a muscle contraction and that bolus will go back into its mouth. So it's totally voluntary. It's probably a bit like blinking. You know, we can either blink if we want to or it happens automatically. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they're controlling it completely. See, this giraffe is even pointing its ear towards us and listening. Incredible sense of hearing and eyesight and sense of smell. Very, very alert animals. And you see that eye, even though the head is facing completely away from us, you can see the eye there can still look at us. So they've got a really, really wide field of vision so that no animal like a lion is going to sneak up behind this giraffe and grab it whilst it's vulnerable. This is very vulnerable to be on the ground like this, because of course if a lion did grab it by the neck, it would be very difficult for this giraffe to escape. And I only ever really see giraffes lying down like this, the few times that I have seen it, when there was a group of them like this, so that they could sort of watch each other's backs. I've never seen a giraffe on its own in the middle of nowhere, lying down like this. That's so nice. And these are all females, I think, the smaller ones. The large, very tall giraffe is a male. You can see how thick and strong his ossicones are. You see that, how thick and strong they are, and they've got no fur on the top there. It's a beautiful silhouette. And got beautiful eyelashes as well. Males and females both. Very, very gorgeous looking. What a spectacular way to start our afternoon.